Hello, colleague. Welcome to my channel. So many people requested, we are launching a new SQL advanced course here. We will cover each and every topic in detail. Support me with a like and subscribe. Don't forget to share this channel to your friends. Your support motivates me to launch many courses. Also, we have many free courses available in our channel. Please visit. Let's go to the video.
So we'll try to understand what is SQL Server, how what is the use of the SQL Server, and we'll try to understand how to install SQL Server, how to log in into SQL Server, all these things in today's session. So SQL Server. So SQL Server is an RDBMS product. So when I say RDBMS, it's nothing but a relational database management system. So it will have some relationship in between in database. So we'll see what is the objects and the stuff. It's an relational database management system product, which was designed and developed by Microsoft. SQL Server will provide graphical user interface. So if you want to work with the SQL Server, we have GUI facility. uh, with the help of GUI, we can easily work with SQL Server. Let me write. SQL Server is an RDBMS product which is designed and developed by Microsoft company. And the SQL Server will provide GUI, graphical user interface, facilitate. It means that the user can interact with the database using icons without remember any command. So if you want to work with SQL Server, and if you want to use some GA options, yes, we can use GA options, and with the help of GA options, we can work with SQL Server. Right now, so how to install? Okay. How to install a SQL Server? Right. For SQL Server installation, we can directly use Microsoft official website. From there, we can download and we can install the SQL Server. Right? So, and as I mentioned, Microsoft we use SQL Server is a relational database system developed by Microsoft, and we use the SQL Server for a data storage, data analysis, and BI standpoint. Let me write one more point here. So it is designed to store, retrieve, and manage data efficiently, and is widely used in enterprise environment for storage, for data storage. When I say data storage, analysis, and business intelligence. So BA standpoint, right? And for server to install SQL Server, we have SQL Server editions. So one we have, I can write here, SQL Server editions. One is Enterprise Edition. Enterprise Edition. Second one we have Standard Edition. Edition. Third one Express Edition. Fourth one, we have developer edition. So the difference between these editions, first one is high enterprise edition. So it contains high-end features and is majorly it is used for large enterprises. High high-end features for large enterprises. Then we have standard edition. So essential database features and mid-sized business, we can go with standard edition. Mid-sized business. And express edition, it's a free version. So free version with limited features for small applications. For small application. And similarly, we have developer edition. It is also a free version for development and testing. Right? So it's same features as enterprise. Same features as enterprise. Right? So to install SQL Server, so we can just go to Google. Right? And type here SQL Server download. Hit enter. Now you see Microsoft official website. So from here we can download SQL Server. So in here, uh, like as I mentioned, so we need to uh, download a free specialized edition, either a developer edition or express edition. So for the above, it is like chargeable. So as we trying to learn the SQL Server, so it is easy. I mean, it is helpful for us. Either we can go for express edition or developer edition, right? So before we download these things, either express edition or developer edition, so we need to understand how we can connect with this server. So basically, when we are trying to install SQL Server, so we have two things. One is SQL Server Management Studio, and then we need to install either a developer edition or express edition. So to connect with the data server, to connect with the SQL Server, we need some client. We need some client. So what is that client? Client is nothing but now here in case of SQL Server, we are going to use SSMS. It's called as a SQL Server Management Studio. Right. So first we will install SQL Server Management Studio, which will help us to connect data servers. Let's say in an organization, you have 10 servers. So you want to connect with these 10 servers. So to connect these 10 servers, we need some client. So now here the client is SQL Server Management Studio. With the help of SQL Server Management Studio, we can connect all these servers. Right. So the first step before we install SQL Server, we'll try to install first we'll try to install SQL Server Management Studio. Right. So we'll see. So I'll stay here. SQL Server Management Studio. So it's called as a SSMS. Right. So SSMS is a GUI tool for managing databases. For managing databases, we use SSMS. Right. So before we install either a developer edition or express edition, first I will try to install SQL Server Management Studio. Right. So I'll just go ahead and type SQL Server Management Studio. So right click, say new tab, again Microsoft website. Now you can download SQL Server Management from here, download SSMS. Let's take look at this. So it takes little time to download. So now it is downloaded. So I'll just open my downloads folder. The location still okay. So this is my SQSSMS setup. Setup is downloaded. Let me close this thing. Okay. Now we can say it, for installation of SSMS, we no need any license. You can just say click on here, run, or you can say open. Right. So if you want, we can change the location. By default, it is going to take C program files, Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. So it will download and install in the C program files 86. Right. Just click on here install option. So it will start installing SQL Server Management Studio. The first step before we install any developer edition or express edition, the first step we need to install SQL Server Management Studio. It takes little time to install. Just wait. Sure. Now setup is completed. We'll click on close. Okay. So the first step, we have installed the SQL Server Management Studio. Now the second step, we need to install uh, now we need to install either developer edition or express edition. Based on requirement, you can see download a free specialized edition, either express edition or developer edition. So based on requirement, we can select it. right? So I'm just going with the Express edition. I click on here, download now. Now it is setup is ready. So we just click on here, downloads, refresh. Now SQL Server SQL 2022 Express edition. Right? So we'll say right click, run. So basic, custom, and download date media. So we can go with this a basic one. So select here basic version, then accept the license terms. Next, you click on here install. Again, it is going to install in SQL and program files, Microsoft SQL Server. Click on here install. Now next you see here instance name. Then we have administrator log folder, and it will create some, and the version of uh, the Express edition is installed. So installation has completed successfully. Right. Now if I say close, now if I click on here connect now, it will open. But let's say we wanted to connect separately. So I just close for now because we have to use SSMS to connect the SQL server. So I'll just close this window. Are you sure you want to exit? Yes. Right. So we just install the SSMS SQL Server Management Studio and SQL Server. Now to connect or to open the SQL Server, we'll use type here SSMS, or you can directly type SQL Server Management Studio. Right. Now we click on here SQL Server Management Studio. The first step is we have to open SQL Server Management Studio. Now you see here it will automatically take the server name. So before that we have server type. We have four different type of a type: database engine, analytical services, reporting server, then interior services, Azure SSIS, integration runtime. In this, we are going to use database engine as we wanted to work on database. So each server type usage is different. So we are going to select first server type as database engine, then server name. It will take your system name basically. Now you see here, this is considering my system name and edition SQL Express. And we have authentication. So we have two types of authentication: Windows authentication, SQL Server authentication. So when I select here Windows authentication, default it will take Windows authentication. It will read your system information, system login and login information, and based on that, it will.
వినోద్ గారు మ్యూట్లో ఉన్నారు.
Sorry. So to work with a SQL Server, we use the SQL Server Management Studio. It is a tool uh, provide a command-based environment and GUI-based environment to perform operations in SQL Server. Right. So if we connect to server, it shows a window with, first we'll get server type. So server type, then server name. We get server authentication, username and password. Right. So server type. So in server type, we'll see four different type of server types majorly. So one is database engine. The first one is database engine. So database engine is a core service for storing, processing, and securing data, or it is used to store, manage, and access the data from database. So the database engine is the core service for storing, processing, securing data, or you can say it is used to store, manage, and to access the data from the database. Right. Second one that we have is analysis services. So we call it a SSAS. It is used for data warehouse. It will show the data in three dimensions: rows, columns, and a new dimension. Right. So database in SQL Service are two-dimensional data, rows and columns. If we wanted to show the third dimension level data, then we can go for SSAS, nothing but analysis services. Data warehouse. It will show the data in three dimensions. Right. Rows, columns, and new dimension. New dimension. Right. And third one that we have is reporting services. We call as a SSRS. Um, it is a reporting tool used to generate a report in various formats, such as creating interactive, tabular, or graphical, multi-dimensional reports. Then yes, we can go for reporting services, SSRS. Generate reports in various formats such as creating interactive, tabular, graphical, multi-dimensional, multi-dimensional data, multi-dimensional based data sources. Right. Right. And then fourth one that we have is um, integration services. You can say SSIS. So this is used to convert table from relational database to another relational database. Let's say, for example, we want to convert SQL Server tables to Oracle tables or MySQL tables. Then it will be used. Convert tables from relational database to another relational database. Relational database. For example, well, if we want to convert SQL Server tables to Oracle tables or MySQL tables, then it will be used. Right. So overall, when you say server types, we have four different types of server types, but majorly what server type that we are going to use, we are going to use only database engine, as we have to store the data, manipulate the data, retrieve the data. So we are going to use database engine. Right. And we have server authentication. So again here we have two types of authentication, and they are Windows authentication, and then we have SQL Server. authentication, right? Now in Windows authentication, it work on user admin. It work on user admin where we work on the Windows authentication. So basically, it will automatically take your user system ID and password, right? So with the in this situation in Windows authentication, we no need to enter username and password. So it will default. It will take your use Windows credentials. Coming to SQL Server authentication, here we need to provide user ID and password. So where your user ID is created. Like for example, I wanted to access some X server. So in for a X servers, I need to have a access. So there we have to create first user ID and password to access the server. Right? So in Windows authentication, authentication work on the user admin, and when we work on Windows authentication, then user should enter um, sorry, in Windows authentication we no need to enter basically. User should not enter user ID and password, right? Coming to SQL Server authentication, SQL Server will work on the current user, and when we work on SQL Server authentication, then user should enter user ID and password, right? Now, and next, so this is all about server authentication and server type. Right? Now, let's say once we connect database engine, so here you will see we have databases. In databases, we have two types of databases. One we call as a system database. Second one is user-defined database or user-created database, user databases. So this is portion we call as a object explorer. Object explorer. In object explorer window will contain database security, server objects, replication, management, etc. Other options. Right? In this we have databases. Now if you expand the databases, now you see here we have two types of databases. One is system database and remaining is user defined databases. So in system databases, we have four databases: master, model, MSDB, and TempDB. So anytime whenever you install SQL Server, you will see system databases standard, master, model, MSDB, TempDB. So each database have its own features. Let's take master. Master is used to manage system level information of SQL Server. So it will manage system level information. And a model, it is used as a template. It is used as a template for creating databases in SQL Server. So if you are creating some database, so it will try to it will it will consider model and then it will create a database. If I'm trying to create a new database, so it is like a model will work as a template. Right? And we have MSDB, so it is used to store alerts and the job information. So if you create some jobs in SQL Server, so that level information it will be stored in MSDB. Right? And a TempDB, so whenever SQL Server started a TempDB, it will create will be created. So basically, it is used for storing some temporary tables. Once we start SQL Server, temporary database will be once we start the SQL Server, temporary database will start. Once we stop, again, if you close the SQL Server, the temporary database, whatever tables that we created in temporary tables will not be no longer available. Right? So we have four types of databases: master, model, MSDB, and TempDB. Each database have its own usage. See, then right here, Object Explorer. Again, right here, once we connect Once we connect database engine, we have object explorer, right? So in object explorer, window um, contains databases and databases security, server objects, replication, and management options, right? Now, SQL Server contains two types of databases. These are, first we have system databases. So system database, the system database include the following four databases. First one is model. Second one, first one is master model, um, MSDB, and tempdb. So we use master. So it is used to manage system level information of SQL Server. Right? Model, it is used as a template for all new creating database and SQL Server. MSDB, it is used to store the alerts and job information. Contains the SQL commands which are executed by user, right? And we have a tempdb. Um, so whenever SQL server is started, tempdb will be created in SQL server. Right? So it is mainly used. It is used to store temporary tables. So once we restart the server, the temp db database is destroyed. So this is all about some basic understanding about SQL Server. Then we have user database. These these databases are created and managed managed by the user for storing their objects like tables, views, procedure, etc. So overall, we have two types of databases: system databases and user defined databases. Now here in this case, we system defined databases are master, model, MSDB, and tempdb. And these database default, once you install SQL Server, you will see these four databases. This is system defined databases. And coming to user defined database, like in this system, it's already created some user defined databases like employee database, product database, some SQL sessions. It's already created. You see, these are all created by the user, right? So in a session, we will try to understand how user will be created a database, what will happen if I created a new database, those things, right? Thank you.
Support me with a like and subscribe. Don't forget to share this channel to your friends. Your support motivates me to launch many courses. Also, we have many free courses available in our channel. Please visit. I hope you like this video. We will see you in the next video.